Hey, what is going on, guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to talk about a topic that is on my mind for quite some time, and it is about the PC versus console wars, or PC master race, or however you want to call it. So it is basically me stating that I think this whole debate is pretty dumb and that the gaming community is dividing itself, and that I think the gamers should not turn on each other but rather somehow stay together and make a better opposition against companies who are charging way too much for games, who are bringing out games full of bugs, or who introduce microtransactions while having released only half of a game. Maybe those people or those companies would be a better adversary than a fellow gamer. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me it seems way more rational, and also from an emotional side of things, I think this would be a way better opponent. If you want to rage against someone, somebody, or some institution, then you should better choose someone who is not in the same boat as you are. Okay, so let me start off by saying that me personally, I would consider myself a PC guy. I grew up playing on the PC. I started playing on my father's PC when he got it because of his work. And also my friends, they didn't have consoles, they had PCs. So we're talking here early to mid 90s. Yeah, so that's how I got started on PC. And I have to say, I just got used to it. I got used to the controls, I got used to keyboard, to mouse. Until a few years ago, I couldn't even play the games with a gaming controller, with a gamepad, because it just didn't work for me. I was not able to use that damn thing. But ultimately I got into it, and now I'm also playing bunch of games with the gamepad, so yeah, no problem there. Why I'm talking about this? Well, as I said, it's really bothering me. It makes me sad to see how people turn on each other. It's a really toxic atmosphere in the YouTube comment section. And when you just go to some games review sites or performance comparison sites, and you scroll down a little bit in the YouTube comment section, there are a few really nice comments, people who are trying to bring the whole thing forward, to make constructive criticism, to have a civilized conversation about a certain topic, a certain thing. But you also have, and it feels like the majority of people, but I ultimately think they're just louder, so maybe they're not the majority. But anyways, so there are those people who are claiming that their platform is the overall best. So from an objective standpoint, the PC is the better platform, or the console is the better platform because, and then some reasons. For example, people who are arguing that the PC is the objectively better platform say, yeah, well, I can run my game in native 4K and in locked 60 FPS. Whatever game I throw on the PC, it can run it on ultra settings and maxed out. But the problem is, yeah, of course you can do this. And me personally, I can do it also. But you really had to spend a good amount of money to get this kind of PC. Alone the graphics card is several $100. So you, for example, buy a graphics card for $700, the 1080 Ti or whatever, and then you feel superior because you can beat a guy or a girl who is buying a console for $400. I mean, come on, really? That's the level you want to go? Okay, so as you can see, this is not even a comparison. So it's like someone is buying a Ferrari and starts laughing at a guy with the BMW. It's just no comparison. Of course, the Ferrari is faster, but the thinking, why someone gets a Ferrari, why someone gets a BMW, is different. There are also positive things about the BMW, as well as there are bad things about the BMW. And about the Ferrari, you have also a number of negative things to say. First of all, it's of course the price. And it's the same with the PC and consoles. So every platform has its own right of existence. Every platform does some things better, some things worse. And let me say this, to compare is not the problem. What you make out of the comparison, that's where I think people, or those loud people, are just wrong. It's just dumb. So you're not making the comparison to say, okay, so this platform does this better than the other, but both of them have their benefits. No. When people, who I mean, start to make the comparisons, the goal is to say this platform is better overall and the other platform is shit. People who are getting into consoles, they're getting into consoles because they never got used to using a PC, or because they just don't need a PC but they still want something to play on. And the console is really much more accessible as the PC. You just plug it in, you install your game, and you play on. You don't need to worry about different settings, about different hardware configurations. You don't have to deal with bugs or whatever. And let me say this, most games on consoles are way better optimized than on PC. For example, when you try to run a game on a console and then you take the same game and try to run it on PC, and you try to match the hardware specifications so that your PC is as fast as the console, I bet on the console this game will look better because the game is better optimized, and you will need a slightly better PC than the console is to run this game as well as it runs on the console. The games are better optimized for a console because the consoles have, of course, over millions of units the same configuration in hardware, whereas for PC you have to develop or optimize the game for a wide or infinite number of configurations. And I mean, I get why people start to compare things. It's just because you want to stand out. Yeah, let's be honest. People who are comparing themselves with others in terms of what they have and what the others don't have, it's just because they want to stand out. But why do you want to stand out? Because you're insecure. It's just as simple. So people who are the loudest, who try to throw dirt on someone else, in this particular case PC gamers throwing mud at console players and vice versa, it's just the most obvious sign of insecurity, period. So if you don't want to be one of those people, then I suggest you better stop comparing your hardware or your platform with the goal to delegitimize the other platform. And of course it is true that when you get into console gaming, you are probably not so much worried about the maximum performance you can get out of hardware, because if you were, you would get into PC gaming. You would be willing to spend thousands of bucks just so you can have the best possible experience. But when you get into console gaming, I mean, I have friends who are more into console gaming than I am. And when I talk to them, the main point they make, and I think this is a correct point to make, it's because they get into console gaming because of the exclusives. Because they know there are dedicated developers who are working with Sony and Microsoft and are trying to squeeze the most out of the consoles. And to be honest, some of the best looking games are console exclusives. And this is coming now from a guy who is a PC enthusiast. So keep that in mind. There is, and there never was, any shame in admitting the positive sides or the positive aspects of a platform you are not a fan of, or you are not using it on a daily basis. And I think if the gaming community would stay together more, like not throwing mud at each other, I think we could have a way better stand against dirty companies who are charging people way too much money for microtransactions, or charging them full price for half game. And then a few months later, or even a few weeks later, they're releasing some add-on for 50% of the full price. To me, those companies deserve to be criticized. The gaming community should throw mud at those companies, but not at each other. So yeah, guys, the point I'm trying to make is, and this is a very simple point, and I think everyone with a mind in the right place can come up with this. It's just that it isn't worth the time to argue about whether one platform or the other is more superior, because they both are superior in certain aspects, and in certain aspects they're just not. And I think when you come to realize this, life really becomes way easier when you are a gamer. Okay guys, so those were my thoughts on the PC versus console war, or PC master race. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, then please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a nice day.